Good evening, meteorologist Bob Acanfrio with today's tropical update for Friday, August 3rd, 2012. Got a few areas to talk about this afternoon. We had couple invests pop up today, one close to Florida, so a little bit extra to talk about this evening. First off, what's on everybody's mind is Tropical Storm Ernesto. As of 5 p.m., we have maximum sustained winds at 50. Movement still quickly to the west at 21, and now it's now in the eastern Caribbean on its way to the central Caribbean, still moving at a nice swift pace. Official forecast tracked by the National Hurricane Center really hasn't changed much since yesterday. They might have adjusted it a little south today in this 5 p.m. advisory. They have actually shifted a little farther west and south, which I don't know why. I'll show you consensus here in a minute and why they did that. I don't know. But basically about the same path here, and expecting it to become a hurricane here in the western Caribbean with lighter wind shear. And the models right now are still all over the place with this system. So we could still put that big question mark here in the 4 to 5 day cone here. We have some models all the way to the east. And then we have our more reliable, normally, GFS and Euro. I mean, the Euro takes a very weak system and runs it right into Central America here, dissipates. GFS really the same way, really a weak system here, and dissipates it as it moves into the Central America here, Yucatan, and then that's the end of that system. So it's interesting how they are farther south and very weak with this system, and I really couldn't see if you're noticing the trend of Ernesto, the last 24 hours or so. It's definitely not going to die off anytime soon. So for them to be rather weak and farther south doesn't make sense to me. And I actually like the National Hurricane Center track right now. This is really where I would put this system if it strengthens into a hurricane, somewhere in this cone here. Maybe even through the Yucatan Channel. It could even come a little farther north. I'll show you a couple models taking it out this way. I would have to discount anything out here. But definitely in this area here, definitely looking if this storm strengthens into a hurricane, could see it out here. And then where does it go from there? Northern Mexico, Texas, Louisiana, those would be my little target areas here. So again, down the road, we will see. Okay, and just showing you, before I go to the satellite view of Ernesto, are other things that are out there today that I was just kind of hinting at. We have this area here. This was that tropical wave that we've been watching this week move across. A little better organized today. It's kind of getting entangled with that surface trough here, right along the Florida coast here. And these kind of things sometimes can spin up. It looks like upper level winds are going to become a little better for development as this upper trough kind of backs off to the west a little bit. So we might see some slow development this weekend as long as it doesn't run out of time and moves inland. So we're going to watch this one. Hurricane hunters are forecast to tentatively check this system out tomorrow afternoon. And we'll see what's going to happen there. If anything, again, whether it develops or not, and if it does develop, it's going to be one of those weak tropical storm type systems, rainfall across Florida. And actually we could use a little extra rain here across some sections of Florida. July was kind of a dry month, so it'll be welcome rains in some areas, especially the northern and central parts of Florida. So if anything, this could really ruin any kind of weekend plans across Florida this weekend. And then out here we have, this is Invest 90L. Very nice as you see here, it says defined low pressure area, definitely with this tropical wave. Pretty conducive for development. Again, the dry air could be a problem. I'll just show you the satellite view here towards the end, and you can see systems kind of chopped off here. You can see a lot of dry air to its north and then also out in front of it. So it's going to be one of these slow developers, though it has a nice area of low pressure with it. So we'll have to watch that long way off, long time to watch it. Okay. Satellite view, Ernesto. This is from this morning through this afternoon. And one thing you can see with this system, getting bigger. So it's definitely getting more organized. Seeing some convection starting to try to pop up, stronger, deeper convection around the center. Still not the best developed system. We still have a little bit of shear. You can see a lot a lot more, it's still kind of lopsided where more of the convection is off to the west, east side of the system than the west. So we have that 15, 20 knots of shear still. Still see some dry air inhibiting the system just a little bit. You see these arc clouds still. But the dry air is starting to mix out of the system a little better. It's starting to get bigger. So like I was saying earlier, this storm is not going away. It's not going to dissipate. Definitely I could see slow, steady strengthening through the Caribbean. And as time goes on here, especially if that shear could lighten up. But the next day or two, probably slow, steady strengthening. Looking at the shear real quick near Ernesto, you can see here was that big upper trough to its northeast. And you can see, this shear in here is supposed to slowly lighten. So 15, 20 knots, not bad. Not bad. And this should start backing off as we get towards Jamaica here in the next couple days. Looking at the bigger picture of shear here again, here's our big upper trough here. This was really getting a lot of the shear. And here's that upper trough here that we've seen kind of migrate to the west. It's kind of entangled a little bit with our Invest 91L here, but this should back off to the west. If this could back off to the west quickly enough, 91L will have a chance to develop. Also, if this backs off, we will see some lighter shear here in the Western Caribbean, and that's really where the models are having a hard time with Ernesto. Does this shear really start dying? I mean, if this shear stays about 15, 20 knots, or even more than that, this system's not going to develop into a hurricane. But if we really could get this tut feature to back to the west and really open up the shear and lighten it up here in the Western Caribbean, then we could see Ernesto become a hurricane, and then that could sneak into the Gulf. So there's where the uncertainty lies there with that forecast. Looking at the models with Ernesto, and this is what I was talking about. I'll just point some of these models out. I'm not going to show you them in depth. We don't have a lot of time here, but GFDL has been way to the east. You got to kind of discount this. I cannot see this coming this far east. The trough's just not going to be as strong here. We have UK Met in the blue. We have Canadian in the yellow. And we have HWRF here like this. So they're all right there, right in the Yucatan Channel. Consensus is here. But you can see National Hurricane Center actually slipped a little south of consensus at 5 p.m. Which doesn't make sense to me, but hey, I would have went right with consensus on the track. I would have stuck it closer to the Yucatan Channel if that was me, but they're slipping a little farther south. I don't know what kind of weight they have there with that, but no, they're still pretty close to consensus. And you see a lot of these are the GFS ensemble models, which are way farther south. But again, I'm right in here, definitely. The system strengthens, it's going to go near the Yucatan, possibly through the channel. Can't see eastern. So again, if you're in the United States right now, Gulf Coast, you're saying, hey, should I be worried? Where am I going to be at with this? Definitely, I would say Louisiana, Texas. Those are your two spots. Keep an eye on Ernesto through the weekend. See how it's going. No need to panic just yet. Just a watch, wait. You should be prepared by now for the hurricane season. If you're not, good time to get prepared. Good time to check everything out. Make sure you have all your supplies, know where you're going, all that good stuff. But definitely, I would say if this does sneak up into the Gulf, it would be a Texas, Louisiana type system. Anything farther east, I just don't see that happening. And then intensity models, and this is another thing. We have the LGEM, which is usually very pretty good intensity model here in the statistical models. It's been really category 3. Ships has been in that category 2. But you see the wide range here of intensities here, even with the intensity forecasting. So again, very uncertain forecast down the road with Ernesto. And I gave you all the scenarios, and we're just going to have to see what happens. Really quickly, 91L near Florida. Don't really see a center of circulation right now. If anything, near Andros Island here, something possibly may try to spin down. Don't see anything just yet. Kind of a wait and see. It's going to probably more than likely sneak up here to the northwest and then cross the peninsula, because we'll have high pressure building up in here. It's not going to go north. It's going to make a northwest and then west. So this is going to be its track. Definitely going to spread some rainfall across Florida this weekend. Will it have time to develop? Again, a wait and see there. I showed you shear should start lessening with the system. If you do look at the radar real quickly here, don't really see any circulation. Again, if anything, maybe right near Andros Island we might see something start to spin up, but right now I don't see anything there. Sea breeze thunderstorms cranking themselves up across the peninsula today, across Florida. Last but not least, all right, and the models real quickly, 91L, just some of the BAM models that came out. We don't really have a lot of data yet there for models, but I showed you that it's definitely going to make a northwest and then westward type trek across the peninsula. Last but not least, Invest 90L, and you can see nice little hot tower here. This was early this afternoon near the apparent circulation center here. But you can see it's kind of cut off here. If you look at this, all the clouds, convection to the south, but so you see a lot of dry air to its north, and that's going to inhibit this system through its trek for the next few days. We'll see who wants to be Florence first. Will it be our system off the Florida coast? Will it be the system out here? We'll have to see through the weekend. That's it for today. I'll try to have updates over the weekend if I can on Ernesto and if something develops off the coast of Florida. Have a good evening.